So I'm guessing this is the camera for video. So I decided to do this now because I'm always incited to do these stories, and people keep telling me that I have stories. So this is another chapter. It's 1975. I spent my last year of high school being shuffled around to my third high school. Started off at Archbishop Carroll High School in Washington, D.C. That's another story. All boys school. Started there in about 71 to 72, 72 to 73. 73 to 74, I went to Western in Georgetown. 74 to 75, I went to Woodrow Wilson High School. Up by Tenley Circle, Friendship Heights. My class was out of control. At the end of the bus line, all these kids would stand at the doorway waiting for the bus to pull up to let the customers on so we could go home. And there was a lot of elderly people at the end of the line waiting for the bus to come too. And I swear, for some reason, the 74 to 75 class just crowd the front door waiting for the bus driver to open the door and then just flood the bus and take up every space and every seat and would not let anyone elderly on the bus until last. I have no idea what it was, but this class thought it was the craziest, most funniest, laughable thing in the world to watch the elderly stand in the middle of the aisle and basically have to hold on while the bus drove through all these crazy streets. I'll never understand it for the life of me. But I always sat way in the back by the exit window and the last seat where most people didn't sit. But that summer was an absolutely insane summer. I graduated in 75. I started taking classes at Catholic University and went to school there all summer, theater workshop program. I was the only guy in the workshop. It was like 50 girls and me. And it was at the Harkey Theater at Catholic University in Washington, D.C. I was pursuing a career in art and theater. I just got through going to school at Woodrow Wilson. I got my first starring role in the Woodrow Wilson Players. It was Luigi Pirandello, a play by Luigi Pirandello. And I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But I spent the entire summer in a theater workshop program at Catholic University, me and 30 to 50 high school girls. And I met Father Harkey and used to go say hi to everyone in the offices. And it was during that time that I saw a casting announcement for Monty Python. They had a liaison up in New York who was going to promote Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the movie. And they had the original costumes and everything, and they were coming down to do promotionals at theaters locally in the Washington metropolitan area. So I auditioned and got a job for them, working for them, to go around to various movie houses in the Washington metropolitan area wearing the original costumes that John Cleese and Michael Palin and Terry Gilliam and all these guys wore in the movie to promote the movie, and we had the coconuts and everything else. And leave it to me, I pissed off everybody because of my attitude. I'm sort of like aspiring diva, I guess. 19, what can I tell you? I knew everything. So I got laid off because they told me I could drive. It wasn't my fault. They told me they were going to let me drive. Then they reneged, so I got an attitude. What can I tell you? I was 19. I loved driving. And they told me that they were going to let me drive to Baltimore, and then they reneged. And so I got an attitude, and they put me in the back seat, and they were like, "Stefan, which way do we go? Which way do we go?" And I was like, "How should I know? I'm sitting in the back seat." So, needless to say, when we got back to the offices, they let me go. It's fine. I got bragging rights that I worked for Monty Python, and ended up getting duped into working for the Society of Fine Arts, which was a record sales group that replaced records from magazines door to door, and had a bunch of motley salespeople who they taught the ropes, going around from state to state to state, getting dropped off in neighborhoods all day to sell records to make the eye of the pyramid rich. You know how those pyramid marketing schemes go. So I spent the rest of the summer going, after working at Roy Rogers and burning the living bejesus out of my hand. I spent the rest of the summer doing door-to-door sales, of all things. It was I guess you could say it was a situational circumstance, because all of us were put together. There was a newlywed couple, some ex-military individuals. There was actually I don't know if he was a active or inactive pimp with his sidekick and 2 girls. No kidding. A couple of runaways, and then there was me and a couple of misfits. So together we formed the Society of Fine Arts. What we did was we went around offering people to support us in our cultural exchange program, where international students from overseas would come and stay in the United States, and we would go visit international countries once we accrued a certain amount of points that we got from selling record albums, subscriptions to different artists and whatnot. And we learned the art of high pressure sales, selling over top of each other, multiple sales to the same customer, so on and so forth. We also learned how to sell in the rain, and what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, and weak people don't make it, and all kinds of other things at a 6 o'clock meeting every morning. We stayed at hotels, actually motels, very few if any hotels. Had to make a lot of money to do that, but we traveled around the eastern seaboard all the way down to Texas until they kind of got fed up with the way that I decided that I wanted to live my life, which was not to be left out overnight because I didn't make any money that day. And the car handlers, we had like a van, 19-passenger van, a couple of cars. I think we had a couple of vans, and we would go North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas. One night we were leaving Florida, and one of the guys that drives is his name is Sap. Sap was this huge Anglican guy, looked like a woolly mammoth, had a big head of hair, big beard, real good looking girlfriend, and he would take us out and drop us off in the different neighborhoods to canvass where we had got licenses to knock on doors and ask people door-to-door sales spiels things to sell our records and do our thing. And we were coming out of Florida New Year's Eve driving, and Sap was falling asleep at the wheel of a 19-passenger van full of us kids pulling a trailer. I mean, this guy was literally with his mouth open, his tongue stuck down in his lip, falling asleep. This is the kind of people that I had to live with at 19. So I'm imagine a guy's 370 pounds driving in a caravan and doesn't want to pull off the road because he wants to make time so we can hit the next town and make a boatload of money. New Year's Eve. This guy's falling asleep at the wheel. I'm banging him on the arm. I'm going, Sap, wake up, man, wake up. You're falling asleep at the wheel. I'm not sleeping. Yeah, you are. You're falling asleep at the wheel. Wake up, man. It's like, I'm not sleeping. It's like, pull over and let me drive if you get tired. I'm not pulling over. Why are you not pulling over? Because we got to make time. It's like, yeah, well, we won't make any time if you crash. So if I see you fall asleep again, I'm going to punch you in the head. This is me at 19 talking to a guy who's like 35, 38 years old. So I'm watching this guy, and sure enough, the eyes go down, tongue hits the bottom lip. This guy starts snoring. I'm like pounding on him on the arm, man. It's like, dude, I told you, wake up. He's like, I'm not sleeping. Pull over. I'm not pulling over. Give me the wheel to the car. I'm not pulling. Okay, well then I'm going to take the wheel while you're driving. I had to literally squeeze in front of this guy, grab the wheel. He got out from behind me. Okay, I'm not kidding. Underneath me. And got in the passenger seat, and I'm holding the steering wheel, letting the car slowly decelerate until he's out from under me. I'm driving a van full of people sleeping, pulling a trailer at 19 years old, going up Florida Turnpike someplace on the road because I'm with a bunch of morons, and I'm trying to save our life. And this is the only way to compromise with this clown, is to get him out of the wheel, from behind the wheel. And this is one of the reasons that I learned how to drive so well, because I literally had to save lives by taking over or taking control or getting out of circumstances where people don't know how to drive. You know, I've caught people while I'm asleep at the wheel, and I've had to wake up, and literally I've heard us driving off the road. I've heard the gravel and everything, and it wakes me up, and I'm like looking at the person driving, and they're asleep. So at 19, I had to get the wheel out from this guy's hands. I had to get him out from behind the wheel on the Florida Turnpike somewhere headed toward Panama City. And I got control of the vehicle and drove until the sun came up into Panama City, Florida, to our next destination, on the way to Texas, to our next motel. New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's.